now that you're, going into this a little bit deeper with Paul Skenes, let's just jump right into it. I want to start with him as far as pitch selection. Okay, so when Skenes came up to the big leagues, Michael and I have watched every single pitch he's thrown. I'm sure you're pretty much probably the same. And so when he came up last year, he started throwing, or he had already started, but he really started using what we called the splinker for a while. And it last year, or 2024, it was his most used pitch other than his fastball. It was absolutely nasty. It got a ton of swing and miss. He came out in 2025, and that pitch was not the same. It didn't have the same vertical depth. It was not getting the same swing and miss. He gave up 3 home runs on it, which he only gave up one all of 2024. Something like that. Paul Skenes has the ability to change and to now start using his breaking balls more, and still maybe even have a better season because he's Paul Skenes. But that's something that I'm curious, when you see a guy like Skenes making those adjustments, is that something that separates him, or can everybody learn and make those adjustments the way he does?
That's a great question, because I think people can take something from it, but he is talented at a level that I'm not sure everybody can do. He blows my
Yeah.
mind with like, I asked him about this. I said, like, dude, I feel like sometimes you just decide you're going to dominate a team with this pitch this day, and it could be any of your pitches, and you're just going there and you're mowing down people. Your curveball, like, it comes out of nowhere, and all of a sudden you get like
Yeah.
10 whiffs on your curveball. And
Yeah.
he's like, yeah, it's kind of like that. Like, he goes in the bullpen. He's like, all right, this pitch feels good today. And he'll throw more of that in the game. And if it keeps working, he keeps going to it. Like, he has a plan, but he's willing to deviate from it. And he's got so many different weapons. They have to respect his fastball. They have to respect all of his pitches, his command. He told me when he was in college, and this also blew my mind, that he's always been able to put the ball where he wanted to. And I'm like, young pitchers never do that. Like, it takes them a while,
Right.
and then they dial in command. He has always been able to do that. He was a catcher, so he knows how important sequencing. I think it's really awesome that he was a catcher and knows then how to call pitches and knows what hitters are expecting. He was a hitter. So that separates him. His command separates him. His stuff separates them. His poise separates them. The fact that he likes doing the boring stuff. I mean, the only thing he ever gets criticized for is that he's not the most, he's not over the top enthusiastic when you interview him, because but that's what makes him great. It's the willingness to do the boring stuff. Like, I cannot think of a pitcher that's got it together more than that guy. And he is so much fun to watch. Everybody should watch every one of his starts. And you can learn something from it, but also realize you're watching a once in a generation guy who is just phenomenal in every way, great for the community. He does so many great things in charity. Like, if your kid grew up to be Paul Skenes, you'd sit there and go, I'm a winner. Like, that was the best my kid could have ever turned out. Like, that is fantastic.
Yeah. My high school coach once gave me the greatest compliment I've ever gotten. He said, Michael's a guy that I would allow to marry my daughter. Paul Skenes is that for me. He's a guy that you'd be like, duh, yeah, take her, whatever you want. Go ahead. Be a part of this family, right? Like, this guy's incredible. So I think you said it best. He got K-Strut of the Year in your awards. You said, walk slowly off the mound, surveying his kingdom. And I think that's the perfect element, because this guy is a giant lion. If there was a Liger, I believe in it now because of this guy. But watching him, Rob, over the last couple of years, like, I'll never forget, me and Steven are watching it, and I go, dude, how sick would it be if he threw that splinker off the front hip right here? And sure enough, he did. And I'm like, how does this guy do this? He's 22 years old at the time, and he's making adjustments that you only dream a guy would make maybe in his 30-year-old season, 31-year-old season, 6 years in. This guy's doing it day one, and he's teaching the veterans things because he's willing to make that change like this. I think it's the military background. I say he has 58 tactical game plans, and he plans for it to go wrong. But before I even go any further on that, I want to talk to you about this moment that he had this year. It's the coolest moment I've ever seen in baseball. He threw a pitch, and he always looks up, and I'm always scared to death he got hurt. He goes like this, but he's not getting hurt. He's looking up, and at PNC, they have the horizontal and vertical break. Well, this day, his vertical movement with his fastball, because his low slot was taking off up better than it had all year. He led by far with that four-seamer pretty much dropped the two-seamer that day, which took over a lot for his splitter this year, and dominated with it. I think he had 10 Ks, 9 of them on the fastball. That's what makes this guy extremely unique. But have you ever seen anybody be able to slow the game down like this at any age with this stuff, this command, and ability to adapt within the game? Because it's remarkable. And he feels like, I feel like every time he says, yeah, I'm just trying to learn from this and that. And I'm like, dude, what else you going to learn? You're going to revolutionize the game.
That was exactly my view on him. And I knew this from, like, I interviewed him at LSU, and you know how good he was at LSU.
Yeah.
And I was trying to figure out how good he can be from the interview. And at the end, I just came away going, like, dude, you're so good right now, and you could be so much better, but you're so good right now. And I can't wrap my head around how mature, how well he thinks about the game, how much he wants to be better, and how much he focuses on every little detail to get that way. It is just a unique mindset. And I do think it has something to do with his military background. I mean, he just can be very disciplined and has a bunch of different plans when things go wrong. There is no young pitcher that pitches like that. He's so far up. Like, he pitches like that's the thing that's the great combo, right? He pitches like he's 35 and he's 22. He's got 22-year-old stuff. So he's among the smartest pitchers in the game. Yeah. Like, he's Paul Skenes. Like, there's nothing you can say about him other than he's a one-of-one unique character. And I mean, I guess I don't wish everybody was like him, because then you wouldn't have these, like, I'm glad there's only one Paul Skenes. It's fantastic to watch.
So you talked about his ability to throw one pitch more on a given day. I'm going to use this to kind of lead into a more general question about some of the Pirates and baseball in general. So in 2024, he was not throwing his changeup very much yet. He started throwing it more at the end of the season. But there was a game in 2024 where he threw 9 changeups. He had 8 whiffs, and 7 of them were strikeouts, right? So just thinking about, you throw 9 changeups and you get 7 swinging strikeouts on that pitch is just insane to think about. He started using it a little bit more, and then this year he used it a lot as a big strikeout pitch for him, and it's nasty. But he's not the only one that the Pirates have that are doing this. Big right-hander, power arms. Him, Bubba Chandler, Mike Burrows, all these 3 guys, that big power righties with a strong fastball, using a changeup as a swing and miss pitch. When I came up, changeup was always seen as a weak contact pitch. That's starting to change. Do you think that's because of the seam shifted wake that we are seeing now more often in Major League Baseball?
A lot of it is due to that. And changeup is probably my favorite pitch too. I think, because there are so many different ways to throw one, and they're just like, I'm a sucker for changeups. I did a video on, like, the origin of, like, the circle change and all that. And Pedro's changeup, one of my favorites. I named the Airbender. Like, so I get that. I get that. But yes, absolutely. I think that has something to do. We're able to manipulate changeups a little bit more now because of seam shifted wake. And those guys you mentioned, like Paul Skenes' changeup, I don't even know. Like, what is his best pitch? Do we know what his best pitch is?
No,
we
really don't.
Like, we don't, right?
It's not really fair, because it depends on what you mean by best pitch. His best pitch is that he can throw all of them whenever he wants. So, like, that's his best pitch. You know, it's just not fair.
Yeah. Like, I couldn't, if you ask me it, I don't know if I can answer that question. Like, I can answer it for Tarek Skubal. I think his changeup is his best pitch. I don't think I can answer it for Skenes. But yeah, I think we are seeing that with multiple guys. You're seeing that across the league, and people are figuring out, like, the key to make a really good changeup. And that's one reason why, I mean, last year you had Sale and Skubal win the Cy Young Award, and they both were throwing seam shifted wake changeups. And you're seeing more of that I mean, I don't know, it's not a purely lefty thing, but that they both happen to be lefty, but you're definitely seeing that happen more.
So obviously Mike Burrows has an incredible changeup. I know you love yourself some Mike Burrows. He's a guy that reminds me of Giolito. He could throw the changeup up, and I think guys would swing at it constantly. But it has nothing to do with his seam shift wake. This guy just stays behind it. Pretty much a 4-seam changeup, but it's Bugs Bunny style. Just talk about the different types of changeups and how his kind of stands out, and he could literally throw it at any moment and it's because whatever in your brain, you see that fastball like intent, and you just cannot not swing, and then it's 10-mile-an-hour difference.
Yeah, like historically, everybody's, you teach the circle change where you're teaching pronating through the ball, and not everybody's good at it, which is why the seam shifted wake stuff came to play, or the Giolito type change up where he's just focusing on traditionally, as they'd say, let the grip do the work. That's what he does. And in Gio's mind, he sits there and says, I throw a lot of fastballs at the top of the zone. So if it looks like a fastball, they're not going to be able to hit it. So I'm going to throw it and let the speed differential do the difference. And I don't care where it ends up. And Burrows is a lot like that, where you're able to throw it up in the zone. You're going to see more of that too, and more pitches up in the zone, off speed up in the zone, with the challenge system coming into play next year, because a lot of those pitches don't get called strikes historically by an umpire if it clips the top of the zone. And now you're going to start seeing more changeups, I think, at the top, as well as more curveballs clipping the top of the zone.